How would you like it if someone put you in the water?
Because if we leave it there,
He could steal the van.
yes.
He's fine, honey. Let him do his thing. He's going back home.
Yeah, but it's bad.
No, we're in his home. We're in his neighborhood. He's all good.
I will.
Okay, just leave him be. No, no,
I'm
no.
putting in the water.
No, you're not putting him in the water.
This is can buy a Jackson.
He's not going to buy
Jackson around there.
Jackson's in the van, and he doesn't have the key to the van.
Go back there,
He
but
has
it's
no
around
key.
there.
He's going home. Look, he's right there. He's on his way home. See, he's going up. He knows where he lives. He lives right up there in those rocks. Oh, he thinks we're going to follow him. Hey, hello everyone. Today what we're doing is not filling your lives with excitement and drama and suspense and intrigue and mystery and horror. None of that. What we wanted to do this week is respond to a lot of our viewers, our subscribers. If you don't know what a subscriber is, you can just hit that little bell where it says subscriber and then the little bell for notify, and then you become one of our subscribers. But several of our subscribers have written in the comments down below most of our videos, and quite a few have actually sent us private messages asking us questions like, you know, it's been about a year since you've been in a van, and what is it like, what do you like, what you don't like. A lot of you are sitting at home either thinking that when you retire you will do this, or because of COVID it may be kind of going to happen no matter what, or you're just facing some hardships and this might be a viable option that you're entertaining. And so for those of you who've been following us now, I'd like to go ahead and address all of that. Try to cover most of the questions that we had and respond to them. If you have any comments or questions on what you see here, or if you'd like either Marvy or I to answer anything in specific, write it in the comments. I'll either address it directly to you in the comments, or we'll include it in the future video. So for us, during the first year and a half, we bought our van, which is a 2003 Chevy Express 3500 extended van, which works out for us. I don't think the guy I bought it from was very honest. There were a lot of things that even the mechanics, when we took it to the Chevy dealer, which is in Pahrump, don't go there. They suck. I mean, they charged me $125. They didn't find anything wrong. They didn't even check the oil level when I paid them to go over everything. And all of the problems we had, dry rot on the tires, fuel pump was a major problem. They didn't find any of these things wrong. So we bought this vehicle, and it turns out the first year we spent over $3,400, and that would be, let me see, I had to get a new battery because the day after I bought it, it died in the middle of the desert. We had an exhaust manifold check engine light come on when we were 8,000 feet up in the middle of nowhere, up in the Bryce area in Utah. A fuel pump where we went to Car Care in Casper, Wyoming, and that guy hit us up for $1,100. We were stuck. We didn't have any other place to go. We had to pay an outrageous amount for that guy. The ball joints and some front end work, that was $500. You wear out your van when you go down these dirt roads that are all washboards and everything. And it was an old van anyway. I've got over 170,000 miles on it. So those parts were due to be replaced anyway. New tires, etc., etc. So about $3,500 just in the first year and a half. That's besides the purchase of the vehicle, besides insurance or gas. So if you buy an older vehicle, you got to understand you got to put some money into it. And Bob Wells of Cheap RV Living says it over and over again, and he's so right. You know, you should have $2,000 or $3,000 at least in the van, in your bank. So even if your van goes belly up, or your RV, and you have nothing else, at least you can buy a cheap minivan or something and have something to live in. We are not at that point right now. Our last van thing kind of wiped us out. So hopefully in the next month or two, we're going to stay tight and try to rebuild that nest egg. But I agree with him 100%. Please, if it is all possible, do not start off on the road without some kind of a nest egg. Okay. Okay, so those were our costs, excluding insurance and gas. Those our main expenses are really insurance, gas, and cell phone. My cell phone bill is with Verizon, and it's really high, but it's because I also supplement my income by teaching English online, so I need the connectivity. Marvy has to have her phone for speaking to all of her friends all the time, and also we watch a lot of movies. So those are our main costs besides food. Other things that, let's talk about where we stayed. Last year and a half, we stayed in hotels 5 times. So for 5 nights, 6 nights, I think it's just 5 nights we've stayed in hotels. And that was only because of car repairs. We were exhausted, the car's broken down, we had the stress level. It was going to be, it might take a day or 2 to fix, maybe longer. And so we decided just to take that time in hotels. There was one time in St. George, Utah. I think it's St. George Auto Repair. Those are good guys. Check them out. St. George Auto Repair in Utah. They let us actually stay in the van one night outside of the shop. They just kind of pushed the van while they were working on it overnight, and we could save a little bit of money doing that. So don't feel shy that if you break down, someone's going to work on it. Ask them up front if it's going to be overnight, if you could stay the night in the van in their lot. Okay, so 5 nights in the hotels. We spent a total of time in the last year and a half with friends. We spent 10 days, about 10 days total with friends. And that would be my cousin in Baton Rouge, some friends in Houston. Oops, I think that's about it. The rest of the time we stayed with friends, but we stayed in our vans. We kind of prefer to be in our van. It gets, after a while, it's like a kennel for a dog. You know, that's your safe spot. And of course, with COVID, we're not really going to be staying with anyone. We also stay with some friends in New York, in Buffalo. So that was it. And then here inside, you see we're in a tent right now. This is our Kodiak 10x14 spring bar deluxe or ultra deluxe canvas tent. This cost me about a little under $700, and we've gotten our money out of it so much. We lived in it when we were building our van, and it was great. It is withstand 50-mile-an-hour winds. It's just bomb-proof. I absolutely love this. We do not set this up very often, though. Only when we know we're going to stay at least 5 or 6 days in one place, because it is a heavy tent, and it doesn't take long to set up, but it's still a heavy tent. So I would encourage you to get a tent. Now, one of 2 ways. If you can afford one of these, and they come in smaller ones, so if you're traveling alone and you can handle the weight, look them up. I will put a link below. By the way, all of the products I talk about, there will be links below. The Amazon ones, we get compensated a little bit of money at no cost to you as their agent for putting up those links. Shameless plug there. The other one is to buy a cheap little tent. And the reason I go to Walmart, go to a thrift store, go to a yard sale, buy the cheapest, dumpiest tent you can get. One person, whatever, anything that looks like a tent. And that doesn't take up a lot of space. And the reason is some places do not allow you to sleep in a van. It's like, this is tent camping only. Well, but you can pull up your van right there or your car. So you can set up the little tent, and when the rangers leave, you can sleep in your car or your van, but at least the tent is set up. The other reason this is really cool is that if you get to a campsite early outside of Page, Arizona, I think it's called Beehive Campground, there's only 6 spots, and it's just kind of in a circle, and those things fill up. And what you can do is get there early in the morning when one of them empties out, set up that little tent, and take off for the day. And people see the tent, and then you've got your spot, okay? Because they're free, but it's first come, first serve. And I see a lot of people doing that. You don't want to buy a $400 or $500 tent and set it up, because I tell you what, someone's going to come along and see that, and you may not have a tent or spot when you come back. But it's a great way to kind of save a spot for yourself. Okay. That's about that. Let's move to the next section. And I want to talk about things we like, what we would have done if things were differently, what we would have done differently. And then finally, what's going to happen in the future. Okay. The things I like, first of all, is I like the van. Even though it's broken down quite a bit, I got a van with a lot of problems. It's a famous van. It's a workhorse. The Chevy Expresses are just workhorse vans. They were built to be road tough and to be really abused. And we have the 3500, which is, a 6.0 engine. It's very strong. We get anywhere from 10 to 17 miles a gallon, depending if my wife is driving or I'm driving, or on the road conditions. If you're on the highway, mountain roads, gravel, inner city, all of those things fluctuate. So driving habits and weight and where you are. But it's a great van. The 3500 the suspension is really strong. So for 2 of us with all of the weight, it's perfect. I love it. I would, I would change it, but I have no regrets about the van. The tent itself, I really love. I don't think it was a bad investment at all. We've certainly gotten our money worth out of it. 100 days, no leaks, bomb-proof. I feel absolutely comfortable. If our van were to go really bad, if we lost a transmission and we may not have the money for a month, month and a half, and it's stuck at a mechanic's until we had the money, we could easily live in this tent. So it was a good investment for us. And I would strongly consider, if you're going to have an older vehicle that might break down and you're kind of strapped for money, if you can get maybe one of these smaller canvas tents, depending on, 10 by 10, they have a 9 by 8, I think. I wouldn't get the small one because you want to stand up in it, and they're great tents. Again, I'll put the link below. I don't get compensated for that. It's just a link. So I like that. The other thing I like is this stove we have. And the stove is a Coleman stove, but it's not your standard double burner stove. We've had this years and years before when Marvy and I just did a lot of camping together, and I've always have loved this stove. It's a single burner on one side and a grill on the other. Not a griddle, not a flat surface, but a grill. And that allows us to, number one, heat tortillas. So if we're making a dinner and we want to just warm up some tortillas or toast them, that would be great. I use it for toast, for browning English muffins, and also one of my favorite things is we will go into the store and buy the frozen waffles. And boy, all you got to do is just take those out and throw them on that grill fire, and it just takes a couple minutes to toast them up, and they're really good in the morning with some Aunt Jemima syrup or some kind of syrup. Maple syrup, we've got a video on. If you've never seen maple syrup being made, we've got a video on that, and I will put a link below for that. Maple syrup is wonderful. Thank you, wonderful people in Massachusetts that showed us how to make maple syrup and then gifted us a nice quart of maple syrup. Okay, after that, the stove, solar. I really love our solar setup. We have a 230 watt solar panel via Santan Solar, and they sell not refurbished, but used and new solar panels outside of Phoenix. Now the shipping would kill you, but it's really worth the drive because I think they're anywhere from 90 bucks to under 200 bucks. They're like ridiculously inexpensive. I will put their link below also. But we got that in conjunction with them making that as a donation to HOWA, Homes on Wheels Alliance, that nonprofit agency I always plug and I really support with Sue Ann and Bob at Homes on Wheels Alliance. I'll put a link below there. They donated that or gave that to us. And then I also purchased a Sawaki 500 watt solar generator and watt hour, and it's great. I've had it for now a year and a half. We use it all the time. I live on it, and those two work in conjunction with each other. Absolutely love it. I need it. I need power. So that was great. Okay, with all of that now, what would we have done differently? Okay, so after a year and a half, I would say, first of all, we would have probably built the van out a bit earlier. We were so excited to get on the road. We really had a lot of fun. You know, we went up to Flagstaff and in the Coconino National Forest and Page, Arizona and Utah and all of these places. I think for 4 months we just slept on the van floor, and we bought little cots. Actually, like this one behind me, or it is one of these behind me. It's the REI cots. And we just kind of suffered through it because we just wanted really to experience getting out on the road. We loved it. But I tell you, once that van was built last year around January, it was a godsend. It just total game changer. So I really wish we would have built the van earlier. But again, don't worry about that. If you need to get out on the road, just get out, and you can do it on the road. You know, just get out. That's a big thing. Okay, we would have done that earlier. Second thing is, what would I have done differently if I had the money? And that would have been simply a bigger lithium battery setup and a fridge. Now, I don't know. I'm just not one of those people that really want to do all of the wiring and stuff. I'm lazy, I admit it, but I don't want the fuse box, and I don't want the inverter separately, and the controller, and all of the wiring, and all of the things that come with all of that stuff. I just don't. Everybody's a little bit different. You can call me lazy or stupid or whatever. I don't care. I just want a plug and play thing like my Sawaki. Bluetti has a couple now, right now. I think one's 1,000 or 1,200 watts. And then there's a new one out that's 1,700 watts. Can't afford either one of those, but that would be the one I want. I could just plug my solar panel into it and I'm set to go. And with that, I would be able to afford a fridge. Now the Bluetti is just a great, so I'm looking for something 1,000 watts or better, and that's going to solve most of our problems. So if anybody feels like gifting us one of those, contact me privately. I would love to accept that. Until then, we're just going to have to work real hard on saving our money, just like you or anyone else, for anything you want. But that would make our life a lot easier and allow us to get a fridge, like a Dometic or any kind of a fridge that would be not so power hungry. Because right now, one of the things I do regret is because we didn't have the funds, we bought a Yeti. It was expensive. I thought it would get things colder than it did. You know, people saying, oh, they last forever. You know, we bought the 60 quart because there's 2 of us and we go out for quite a while. But even that, on a hot summer, even in the hot summer, unless you have that thing wrapped up, which we don't, that ice doesn't last that long. And we go through, I think we go through like 30 to 40 bucks a month in ice. just on the hottest months. Now, as we get into winter time, it's not going to be as bad, but still, we need that 60 quart cooler because there's 2 of us. And again, half of that, at least half of that's going to be ice, and then it melts, and then you've got all your food swimming in water. So I wish I could get rid of that Yeti and get a bigger battery and a fridge. So those are the things we would have done differently. All right, I think that's it. I think now let's just talk about the future. What is in the plans for Rob and Marvy? What are we going to do? Well, on our Social Security, we don't really have the funds to afford a nice house, or even apartments are getting so outrageously expensive. I would have to get another job. And that goes back to, do you want your freedom, or do you want to work to have more comfort? And we still, at this point, while we're physically able to, we want to enjoy our freedom. So I would love to have a box van or a box truck, something that's more with square walls and ceiling so we can insulate and have more room, or at least take our van or another van and put a high top on it. It would really make a big difference for us. We don't have that, so that would be something that if we did have a windfall of cash, we would certainly invest in, is like a van box truck type idea, or at least put a high top on our van, or sell our van and buy one that would already have a high top on. That would be the big one. Another one that's in the future is, again, to get this battery, like a Bluetti or any 1,000 watt hour or larger lithium battery. That would enable me to do a lot more video work and not be so dependent on full sun to get what I have to do. And then a fridge. So those are the immediate things. Besides van repairs, we have a lot of van repairs we still have to do, just not the funds to do that with. So those are the things that I would like to have. And then finally, the only thing that I see us doing in the future, which you may enjoy, is travel, travel, travel. All you have to do is sit tight in your homes, be safe, wear your masks, take the vaccines if they come out, and just, again, be safe, have fun, write questions if you can, any suggestions or comments. We really do love reading your comments. If you could share these videos, again, we'd like to build our channel. If you feel friends of yours might find our stuff interesting, more interesting than this video. But this was a talkie because I had to answer some questions for folks who were, I think, seriously thinking about doing this. Okay, that's it for now. Here, you know the clue. Hit subscribe, thumbs up, like, hit the little bell for notifications. And if you want to support us in any way, we've got all the links below. Patreon is a great way to do that. $2, $4, $5 a month really means a lot when you can get quite a few people doing it. So check out our Patreon channel below. And if there's any videos that you would like us to do that we haven't done, let me know and we'll do it. We got plenty of time to kill, so I'd be happy to do that for you. Okay, until next week, we'll see you down the road.